The alien jungle shimmered under a sky of strange, swirling colors. Soft, bioluminescent plants cast eerie shadows across the twisted trees, their leaves stretching like claws. She moved carefully, stepping over glowing roots and strange fungi. Every sound seemed alive, a rustle in the undergrowth, the drip of glowing sap, the hiss of unseen creatures. She had expected danger, yet the creature she saw appeared almost gentle, moving gracefully through the jungle. "This doesn't feel real," she whispered to herself, brushing a strand of damp hair from her face. Her voice barely carried over the alien calls echoing through the dense canopy. Her fingers traced the mark on her wrist, an ancient human symbol, worn like a secret from a time long forgotten. She had no idea what it meant to these creatures, but a strange warmth radiated from it as if it were alive. A sudden movement in the shadows froze her in place. A massive shape shifted behind the foliage, silent yet deliberate. Her heart pounded in her chest, each beat echoing in her ears. She forced herself to stay still, eyes wide, trying to discern what watched her. "Who's there?" she called, her voice trembling despite her effort to sound brave. The jungle answered only with a low growl vibrating through the air. The creature stepped forward, revealing a frame taller than any human could imagine. Its skin rippled with scales that reflected the alien light like molten metal. Its eyes were golden, intelligent, and terrifyingly focused. She froze, trying to breathe without panicking, yet the mark on her wrist flared softly, casting an unusual glow. The creature's head tilted slightly, almost as if it recognized her before she recognized it. She swallowed hard, backing away. "Oh, I'm not here to hurt you," she said, voice shaking. Every instinct screamed for her to run, but something rooted her to the spot. The predator didn't advance aggressively, but the intensity in its gaze was enough to make her knees weak. A sudden snap of a branch nearby made her jump. The creature flared its nostrils and let out a low, vibrating hum, a sound that seemed to shake the very air. Her pulse raced. She wanted to run, but the mark pulsed again, a strange rhythm syncing with the vibrations in the jungle. She realized then that this was no ordinary predator, it was something far older, something that could sense more than just presence. I don't know what you want," she whispered, stepping cautiously backward. Her mind raced, searching for a plan for an escape. But the jungle around her seemed to tighten, the trees leaning in, the shadows thickening, as if the entire forest was holding its breath. The creature's eyes locked onto her wrist again, and it stepped closer, deliberately slow, its claws clicking softly on the alien soil. Her stomach twisted in fear. She had never felt watched like this, not by humans, not by animals, never by anything. Yet something about the way it moved felt precise, like it was measuring her, testing her, understanding her in a way that no ordinary animal could. "Easy. I'm not a threat," she said, lifting her hands slightly, trying to appear smaller, less alarming. She could see the rippling muscles beneath the predator's scales, the sharp edges of teeth just visible as it exhaled. A shiver ran down her spine. Every instinct told her to flee, but her feet felt rooted to the ground. Then, without warning, the creature stopped. It crouched low, its golden eyes narrowing. For a moment she thought it would pounce. She clenched her fists, ready to defend herself, when a strange sound vibrated from her mark, soft, almost musical, yet vibrating through the air like a warning. The predator froze mid-step, tilting its head again. Her heart skipped a beat. Somehow it recognized her. She whispered under her breath, "Recognize me?" The jungle around them seemed alive, shadows curling and twisting as if watching. She could feel the predator's gaze, intelligent and patient, studying her every movement. She took a cautious step forward. I don't know why you're looking at me like that. I'm just trying to survive." A rustling came from the distant tree-line. Her stomach sank as other, smaller creatures stirred in response to the predator's presence. She realized she was in the center of a web she didn't understand. The apex predator wasn't attacking yet, but the air was thick with tension. Every instinct screamed danger, and yet there was a strange connection forming, something that went beyond fear. The predator exhaled slowly, a low rumbling sound that vibrated through the ground. It crouched for a moment, eyes never leaving her mark, then stepped back slightly. She could feel its power, its ancient intelligence, and a thrill of fear and awe coursed through her veins. She realized in that instant that she had stumbled into something far older and more dangerous than she could have imagined. "Who are you?" she whispered, her voice barely audible, a mixture of fear and wonder. The predator's eyes glowed softly, reflecting her mark, and she understood that whatever had been mistaken for harmlessness was anything but. The jungle itself seemed to shift around them, holding its breath, waiting for the next move. She didn't know what would happen next, but one thing was clear. This encounter was no accident, and survival would demand more than courage. It would demand understanding, instinct, and a connection older than the stars. The predator did not attack. Instead, it stood still, its massive body tense like a coiled spring, eyes locked on the glowing mark on her wrist. She could feel a shiver of something older than memory ripple through her as the creature's gaze seemed to pierce into her very soul. She had thought herself alone in this jungle, but now she realized she was being judged by a force she barely understood. Her breathing grew shallow. I don't even know what this mark means, she said almost to herself. Why is it important? The predator's low hum vibrated through the air again, and she felt it deep in her chest. Something in the sound spoke to her, like a message she couldn't yet understand. Suddenly, a rustling broke the tense silence. Smaller alien creatures, previously hidden, stirred in the shadows. They circled at the edges of the clearing, their eyes reflecting the predator's golden gaze. The apex predator's muscles coiled, and it stepped between her and the smaller creatures, growling softly, warning them off. Her heart leapt into her throat. She realized that she was not the one being hunted, not yet, but that her presence had drawn attention she could not control. "Stay back," she whispered, holding her hands out in a gesture of peace. Her voice trembled, but her mind raced. These creatures were intelligent, and she had no weapons, only her wits and the strange symbol on her wrist. She didn't know if it would protect her, or make her a target. The predator moved closer again, sniffing the air around her. Its eyes narrowed as it circled, muscles rippling beneath scales that shimmered in the alien light. She could see the intelligence in those eyes, a recognition that went far beyond instinct. She swallowed hard, taking a careful step forward. "I'm not your enemy," she said. "I don't even know who I am to you." For a moment nothing happened. Then the predator made a sound like a low chime, vibrating through the air in a way that set the jungle alive. Plants shivered, glowing fungi pulsed, and the smaller creatures scattered, leaving a heavy silence. She realized the predator's attention had awakened something in the forest itself, and the jungle seemed to respond to its presence. A flicker of movement caught her eye. From the canopy above, other predators descended silently, their scales glinting under the alien light. They were faster, smaller, and more agile than the first, moving in packs that seemed coordinated. She froze, fear twisting her stomach into knots. The apex predator stepped forward with a growl, facing the newcomers. Its presence alone seemed to slow them, but she understood immediately that a battle could erupt at any moment. She took a cautious step backward, trying not to provoke them. "I didn't bring this," she muttered, her voice trembling. "I don't even know why I'm here." The predator's gaze flicked to her eyes, then back to the glowing mark. It lowered its massive head slightly, like it was trying to reassure her, or perhaps warn her. The smaller predators hissed, circling, and one lunged toward her. In an instant, the apex predator shot forward with impossible speed, catching the creature mid-air and tossing it aside like a toy. Her breath caught. She had never seen anything move with such precision and power. Her chest pounded and fear mingled with awe. "You're protecting me?" she whispered, barely daring to hope. The apex predator's low hum seemed almost approving, and she felt a flicker of understanding pass between them. Somehow, her mark had made her part of something ancient, something the galaxy had long forgotten. The other predators hesitated, unsure. The jungle was alive with tension. Every leaf, every glowing tendril seemed to watch. She realized the apex predator wasn't just defending her, it was warning the others, asserting dominance. A shiver ran down her spine. The symbol on her wrist glowed brighter now, pulsing in rhythm with the creature's hum, and she felt a strange connection, as if she were communicating without words. Her mind raced. If this creature recognized her, others might too. The mark she thought was meaningless to the universe had power, and that power had drawn the attention of everything around them. Fear twisted her stomach, but it was joined by a spark of exhilaration. She had stumbled into a world she barely understood, and the apex predator had accepted her as part of it. A sudden crash echoed from deeper in the jungle. Branches snapped and the ground shook. She spun toward the sound, heart racing. From the shadows emerged a group of massive, armored creatures she had never seen before, moving with the confidence of hunters at the top of their food chain. The apex predator growled, stepping protectively in front of her, muscles rippling with tension. She could see its teeth glinting in the strange light. "They're coming, aren't they?" she whispered, barely moving her lips. The creature's eyes met hers, and for a fleeting moment she understood. Yes, they had sensed her mark, and now she had become the signal for new threats to appear. The jungle seemed to close in, every sound amplified, every shadow a potential danger. Her pulse raced as adrenaline surged through her veins. She realized that recognition was not safety. It was danger wrapped in curiosity, and the predator's acknowledgement had awakened the forest, the smaller hunters, and perhaps forces she could not yet imagine. The apex predator bared its teeth, a low growl vibrating through the air. She pressed herself against a glowing tree, heart hammering, and whispered, "I don't know what's happening, but I have to survive." The predator crouched, ready to fight, but its eyes never left her mark. She knew then that this was only the beginning. Whatever recognition had awakened, it would demand courage, instinct, and a connection she was only starting to understand. The jungle thickened around her, every shadow twisting like a living thing. The air was heavy with the smell of damp soil and something metallic, a warning she couldn't ignore. She moved cautiously, each step careful, eyes scanning for anything out of place. The apex predator stayed close, its massive body moving silently beside her, muscles rippling under the alien light. She felt safer with it, yet a tension lingered in her chest, an unspoken warning that the danger was far from over. "Where are they hiding?" she whispered, glancing at the forest around them. The canopy above shivered, casting dancing shadows that made her stomach twist. She could hear faint clicks and chirps from hidden creatures, sounds that seemed almost deliberate, like signals to something she couldn't see. The predator stopped suddenly, ears twitching, head low. She froze beside it. A trap snapped somewhere ahead. A thin, almost invisible wire across the path triggered a metallic clang. Her heart leapt into her throat. "Trap!" she breathed, realizing too late how close she had been. The predator's roar echoed, shaking the ground, and she flinched as smaller creatures scattered from the noise. She pressed herself against a tree, eyes wide, feeling the pulse of the jungle. The apex predator moved with terrifying precision, dismantling hidden snares and avoiding concealed pits. Each motion was fluid, deadly, yet deliberate. She watched, awe mixing with fear, as the creature led her through a corridor of danger she never would have survived alone. "Thank you. I think," she murmured, her voice shaky. The predator glanced at her, eyes narrowing, and she felt the faintest sense of amusement, or was it curiosity? She couldn't tell. The jungle seemed alive with anticipation. Twisted vines hung low and luminescent plants pulsed as if watching. Then she saw it, glimmering traps strung between the trees, each more intricate than the last. Razor-sharp wires, electrified patches of ground, and pits camouflaged by alien moss. Her stomach turned. They knew we'd come," she whispered, voice trembling. "This was set for me." The predator growled low, a warning that vibrated in her chest. It moved ahead, sniffing the air, analyzing every detail. She realized it wasn't just defending her, it was reading the traps, predicting every danger and guiding her path through a maze designed to kill. Her pulse raced as she followed, trying to match its pace. A sudden snap to her right made her jump. A small, predatory alien lunged from the shadows, claws outstretched. She screamed, flinching back, and the apex predator struck. Its massive paw slammed down, catching the creature mid-leap and tossing it into the thick undergrowth. She gasped. "It's protecting me," she whispered, awe and fear mixing. She had never seen a force so powerful, so precise, so utterly aware of everything around her. They moved deeper and she sensed something more, a presence watching, waiting. The forest seemed quieter now, too still. The predator's ears twitched and it crouched, muscles taut, ready to spring. Then she saw them, figures partially hidden among the trees. Other humans? No. They were tall, armored aliens, their shapes unfamiliar, moving with deadly coordination. Their eyes glowed faintly, scanning the jungle, clearly aware of her mark. "They're hunting me," she whispered, panic tightening her chest. They know who I am." Her voice trembled, but the predator didn't hesitate. It stepped between her and the approaching hunters, tail lashing, claws digging into the earth. A low growl rumbled from its throat, vibrating through the air. The armored aliens advanced carefully, aware of the apex predator. She could see them coordinating silently, a deadly efficiency that made her pulse spike. Why me?" she muttered, pressing herself against a thick tree. "I'm just human. I'm nothing special." The predator's roar answered for her. The sound shook the forest and birds, or creatures like birds, screamed and scattered. The hunters paused, hesitating, unsure of the creature that seemed to hold the entire jungle under its command. She realized then that her presence, her mark, had awakened something in the apex predator, something that gave her power simply by association. Suddenly, one of the hunters fired a strange energy weapon. The bolt missed the predator by inches, and the air sizzled where it struck a nearby tree. She screamed, ducking instinctively. The predator lunged, knocking another hunter aside with a swipe of its massive paw. She could feel the heat of its fury, the intensity of its focus, and it terrified and thrilled her all at once. "Move!" she shouted to herself, dragging her feet through the undergrowth. The predator guided her, using its massive body to shield her from incoming attacks. Each step she took was a struggle, every branch a potential trap, every shadow a possible enemy. Yet somehow, with the creature at her side, she survived. Her breath came in ragged gasps. She stumbled into a small clearing and froze. The hunters were regrouping and more traps glimmered in the alien light. She looked at the predator, eyes wide. It crouched low, muscles coiled, tail flicking in anticipation. She understood what she had to do: follow, trust, survive. "I don't know why you're protecting me," she whispered, "but I can't do this without you." The predator's ears twitched, almost approvingly, and it stepped forward, leading her into the next layer of the trap-filled jungle. Her pulse pounded, fear and awe mingling in every step. The realization hit her. The jungle was alive with danger, and every predator, every hunter, every trap had been waiting for her. The apex creature's recognition had not only saved her, it had revealed that she was far more important than she had ever imagined. The jungle closed in around them, shadows shifting, traps waiting, and she understood with a thrill and a chill that the real challenge was only beginning. The jungle felt even darker now, shadows stretching like grasping hands. She moved cautiously, following the apex predator through the thick undergrowth. Every rustle, every snapping twig made her flinch. She had thought the predator's presence would make her safe, but now a gnawing unease churned in her stomach. Something was off. She could feel it in the shifting air, in the silence between distant alien cries. "They're close," she whispered to the predator, her voice trembling. Her hands clutched at her mark, which pulsed faintly as if responding to the tension. The creature's ears twitched and it lowered its massive body, muscles coiled like springs. She realized they weren't alone. A sharp click echoed through the trees. Figures emerged, tall and angular, moving with coordinated precision. But these were not the smaller hunters from before. They were different, sleek, armored, and moving with the cold efficiency of trained soldiers. Her pulse spiked. "Wait, they're not hunting me, are they?" she whispered, hoping for a misread. The apex predator growled, low and warning. One of the figures stepped forward, hands raised slightly, but her instincts screamed danger. "Who are you?" she demanded, voice shaking but firm. "Why are you here?" One of the aliens stepped into the light, and she could see the strange patterns on their armor. We're here to help you," it said, voice mechanical, controlled. "We know what you are and we need your mark." Her stomach dropped. "Help me? You're the ones who set the traps. You tried to kill me," she shouted. Fear and anger mixed, choking her words. The predator's tail flicked angrily, muscles tensing as if sensing her fear and betrayal. "We had no choice," the alien replied quickly, almost pleading. "Your mark, it belongs to all of us. We need it to survive the coming storm. The apex, it recognizes you, yes, but it also recognizes the threat you carry. If we fail," its voice trailed off. Her heart pounded. "You betrayed me," she whispered, voice shaking. "After everything, after the predator saved me, after I trusted you?" Her hands trembled as she glanced at the apex creature, which crouched protectively in front of her, growling low, eyes glowing with warning. The alien stepped closer, but the predator hissed, a sound like grinding metal, and they froze. The jungle itself seemed to lean in, shadows twisting around them, as if waiting to see who would move first. She realized that whatever alliance she had imagined with these creatures was gone. She had been used as bait, her mark, her presence, a signal for forces she barely understood. "You think I'm weak," she said through gritted teeth, trembling with a mix of fear and rage. "You think I don't know how to survive. But you miscalculated." The predator's eyes met hers, and for the first time she felt a surge of confidence, a strange courage rising within her. She wasn't alone, and this creature recognized something in her that no alien army could ignore. A sudden movement from the treetops startled her. One of the armored aliens lunged with a blade-like weapon. The predator reacted instantly, leaping forward with impossible speed, catching the attacker midair and hurling it into the foliage. She gasped, stumbling back, heart hammering. "It's protecting me," she whispered, awed and terrified. She had never seen such raw power combined with precise intelligence. The other aliens hesitated, unsure of how to act against a force they clearly feared. She realized in that moment that the apex predator's loyalty was absolute, and her survival depended on trusting it completely. "Stay behind me," she said, voice steady despite the fear. The predator's tail flicked, acknowledging her command in its own way, ready to face any threat. One of the aliens spoke again, voice strained. "You don't understand. If we don't get your mark, the others, the ancient hunters will come. They will destroy everything." Her hands clenched into fists. "You betrayed me for fear? You think fear is stronger than trust?" She shook her head, anger flaring. "You don't control me. You never have." The predator moved forward, body low, tail whipping, muscles tensed like a coiled spring. The aliens flinched, taking a step back. The jungle seemed alive with anticipation. Every shadow, every rustle, every whisper of wind carried danger. She felt the predator's power flowing into her confidence, and a strange bond formed, a connection older than memory, unshakable in the face of deceit. Suddenly, a deep roar echoed from farther in the jungle. Both humans and aliens froze. The sound was raw, primal, and filled with intelligence. She realized her mark had not only drawn the apex predator but also awakened forces she could not yet see. The betrayed aliens faltered, fear creeping into their movements. She felt a shiver of triumph and dread. Danger was coming, but she had the creature at her side. I don't care what you think you know," she said, voice trembling but fierce. "I survive. And I decide who lives and who dies here." The apex predator growled in agreement, a sound that made the forest shiver. Together they were a force no alien army could predict, no trap could contain, and no betrayal could destroy. The jungle closed in around them, shadows twisting and hunting, and she realized that trust, loyalty, and instinct had become sharper weapons than any blade or armor. Betrayal had awakened her rage, but it had also revealed the true strength of the bond between human and apex predator. She would survive no matter the odds, no matter the enemies, no matter the lies. The jungle seemed to hold its breath. Every leaf, every shadow, every glowing vine pulsed with anticipation. She crouched behind a thick root, heart hammering, eyes darting to the golden gaze of the apex predator at her side. Its muscles tensed, tail flicking with nervous energy, ears swiveling to catch every sound. She had never felt so exposed, yet so alive. The mark on her wrist burned faintly, a signal of something far older than her understanding. "They're coming," she whispered, voice trembling. Her breath caught as she glimpsed movement through the twisted foliage, armored aliens, sleek and deadly, advancing in perfect formation. Their weapons glinted under the alien light, and she could sense their intent: elimination. Not just of her, but of the apex predator, and of everything that stood between them and her mark. The predator stepped forward, low and menacing, muscles coiled like springs. She pressed herself close, feeling the warmth of its body, a silent promise of protection. "We can't let them take me," she murmured. "Not now. Not ever." Its low growl vibrated through the earth, answering her resolve. Without warning, the lead alien fired. Energy bolts streaked through the air, cracking against trees and sending sparks of alien sap flying. She ducked instinctively, heart in her throat. The predator lunged, faster than she could follow, swiping one attacker aside and crushing a second with a single paw. The jungle erupted with chaos, glowing plants trembling from the vibrations. She felt both terror and awe. "They're strong," she muttered, voice shaking, "but we're stronger." The predator's eyes met hers, and for the first time she understood. The mark on her wrist was not just a symbol. It was a key, a signal, an awakening. She raised her hands slightly, and the glow intensified, pulsing in rhythm with the predator's growl. Something ancient stirred, something that had slept for centuries. A sudden rumble echoed from deep within the jungle. The ground trembled beneath her feet. She stumbled but caught herself on a glowing vine, looking up to see shadows moving faster than anything she had ever seen. More apex predators, long thought extinct or myths, emerged from the trees, drawn to the power of her mark. Their eyes glowed like molten gold as they surrounded the intruders. She gasped. "They recognize me too?" Her voice trembled, a mix of fear and exhilaration. The apex predator growled in response, and she felt a strange surge of energy, as if her mark and the creature's presence were linked, calling forth a lie she had never imagined. The armored aliens froze, realizing they had underestimated what they faced. One of them hissed, "Impossible, it's just a human." But the apex predator roared, a sound that shook the very canopy, and the smaller predators attacked, scattering the aliens with terrifying precision. She watched in awe as her protector moved like lightning, each strike calculated, every motion lethal yet fluid. Adrenaline coursed through her veins. She stepped forward, feeling the heat of the battle around her. "We fight together," she whispered, her voice steady despite the chaos. The predator nudged her gently, acknowledging her courage. She realized that her mark had awakened not just recognition but authority, power that commanded respect from beings older and stronger than anything she had imagined. The jungle trembled again. From above, a shadow loomed, larger than anything she had seen, a creature with wings like molten metal, eyes glowing with intelligence and fury. The apex predator growled and stepped in front of her, tail lashing, muscles tensed. She felt fear twist in her chest, yet also a strange exhilaration. The mark on her wrist pulsed brightly and she understood. This was the ultimate test, the awakening she had been drawn to her entire life. The winged creature landed, sending debris flying, and the armored aliens scattered in panic. The predator growled, low and guttural, but did not attack immediately. It studied the newcomer, and then she realized something terrifying and beautiful. Her mark was communicating with it. She could feel it in her chest, a vibration that was both ancient and powerful. She raised her wrist and the glow flared, pulsing in rhythm with the jungle itself. The winged creature roared, but instead of striking, it circled, cautious, wary. The apex predator growled in response, and she felt a surge of understanding. These creatures recognized her lineage, the ancient human mark, and it commanded both fear and respect. She took a step forward, her voice clear and commanding. "This is my world. You will not harm me or mine." The predator crouched beside her, tail flicking in agreement. The winged creature hesitated, then lowered its massive head slightly, acknowledging her authority. The armored aliens, scattered and fearful, realized they were outmatched. The smaller predators, once hostile, now surrounded her protectively, sensing the strength radiating from her mark. A calm settled over the jungle, tense but victorious. She exhaled, chest heaving, eyes wide with awe. The apex predator nudged her, a silent gesture of trust and recognition. She touched her mark, feeling the pulse of ancient power beneath her skin. "We did it," she whispered, though the battle had barely ended. The jungle seemed alive with acknowledgement. Creatures that had once been enemies now moved around her in cautious respect. She understood, finally, that the human mark she had once thought meaningless was a beacon, an awakening that even apex predators respected. Fear, strength, and intelligence had combined, and she had emerged as something more than human, a force the galaxy would not forget. She looked at the predator beside her, eyes glowing with unspoken understanding. "We survived," she said softly, voice trembling with relief and triumph. The predator growled in reply, low and approving. Together, they stepped forward into the jungle, every shadow now aware of their power, every predator respecting the human who carried the mark of ancient strength. The jungle pulsed with life, danger, and promise. She had awakened something far greater than herself, and she knew one thing with certainty. The galaxy had underestimated humans, and it would never do so again.